Hello, Taurus. With Valentine's Day right around the corner, I thought I would do a Valentine's Day tarot reading to see what kind of energies you will be dealing with in the realms of love leading up to Valentine's Day. This is friggin' great, by the way. Wow. The Sun and the Chariot card just came out. This is going to, oh my God, and the Four of Wands. Give me a break, guys. Okay, I'm getting excited too quickly here. This is going to be, though, for those of you who are in a relationship, but also out of a relationship. Those of you who are in friendship zones and situationships. And I'm just saying, if you're in the friend zone or the situationship zone, that is not going to be for long. These cards are wicked. And for those of you in relationships, just as wicked. Like, pardon the 90s girl coming out of me when I'm like wicked, tubular. These are like, but this is a great reading. You got two major arcana cards here that have the best omens of victory you can have. The Chariot card is the princely figure who comes home victorious. The energy of going forward into victory is right here in this reading. And the Sun card is the best omen in tarot. It is the card that lightens up every other card. And you already have 4 cards that are so supremely good. How the heck could you have just gotten the Sun card on top of it to lighten it up any further? Phenomenal, guys. The Sun card is the path that is already lit up with all of the obstacles taken out of the way. So if you are in a relationship and it's been difficult, by the time Valentine's Day comes, I would not think that it is still going to be difficult by then. I will be quite frank with you. An absolute path opens up with clarity and victory. And the Four of Wands, this feels like it's going to be such a short reading because it's so to the point. The Four of Wands is when two people come together to create a beautiful, bountiful harvest. And the harvest that they have is golden. I mean that from a symbolic interpretation way of looking at it. We could, let me grab, actually, I'll grab my old Rider-Waite-Smith deck here for a second. I'm going to show you the story of the Four of Wands because it's one of my favorites. But in order to understand it, you should or could look at the story of the Two of Wands that comes right before it. The Two of Wands and the Three of Wands. In order to better understand why I say the Four of Wands is so good, it's like a golden harvest and abundance between two people. Well, first off, because in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith sense of interpreting tarot, that is what the picture is on the Four of Wands. But the Two of Wands shows you the journey. So in tarot, the Two of Wands here, over 100 years ago, Arthur Edward Waite had described this card as being connected to Alexander the Great. That Alexander, which I've mentioned a few times, you may have heard me tell this story already because I love the story of the Two of Wands this way. With Alexander the Great, he went off to conquer. He conquered and to conquer, as the statement goes. Running an empire that was so grand, it joined everything from the Greek to the Macedonian area. And in this Two of Wands, he's sitting at his tower and he says to himself, where can I go forward from here? Should I stay where I am? On the roof of his battle tower? He doesn't want to battle forever. Or should he go forward to the beautiful path that brings eventually the gold from the Four of Wands? You can see, if we zoom in here and look close, all of the beautiful growth that's happening on one of the paths that he has the ability to go on to, right? So at this point in the Two of Wands, he's making his decision. And then we get to the Three of Wands. He's no longer just standing there doing nothing. In fact, he sees in front of him an entire golden river with these 3 boats on it. And those ships in history were ships of trade and commerce. It's for that reason why the Three of Wands is the card of what's called the Little Merchant. He's going after the gold. The gold is on one of those pirate ships. As I'm sure you know, in history, a pirate ship had a whole lot of gold on it. Arr, matey, right? Or you go on a ship and it had all of the, whatever loot the pirates would have. So he sees those ships and he says, I want that gold. And then he gets to the beautiful energy of the Four of Wands card. I'm going to find it here for a moment from that traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Because as you can see, it's one thing to look at it in the depiction of an animal. It's a beautiful energy to look at it in the depiction of the traditional tarot itself. By the time the Four of Wands comes, it's game time. It's celebration. People are literally cheersing with how happy they are. In fact, the Four of Wands is traditionally known as the card of the 1111 Archway to Marriage card because it quite literally has the depiction of a marriage celebration happening. On this celebration, we have grapevines. We have all of these beautiful leaves of foliage. We have wands that are budding forth new energy. So it is to say, when Arthur Edward Waite described this as a card that brought harvest and gold and abundance, it's the kind of good energy where people around you in the community, there's people in the background, right? They can actually see and recognize that you're in such a good state. You have like family members who are looking at how good things are going for you. And that leads you then to the Five of Wands, which comes after the Four of Wands, which I will say, traditionally, usually things are so good that sometimes you have people whose eyes are on you in a little bit of a jealousy way. Now, you don't have that card right now for Valentine's Day. The Five of Wands is not here. So you get to kind of revel in the energy of happy and good unity, good harvest, and good communication. But just be aware that sometimes when things go that good, others want what you have because they can see that it's stunning. It's amazing. So for those of you who have in the past dealt with situations of difficulty that involved other people, it may not be the last that you see of those other people, but it certainly could be the dynamic where things are going so good with you and your person that you kind of get to almost metaphorically flip the bird to everybody else who's jealous. I'm going to be straightforward. It doesn't have to be. I know some of you are not dealing with energies of jealousy. It could just be recognition from, your family at how happy you are, or your bosses see that you're working so much more productively because your love life at home is having that trickle down effect, right? But if for some of you, if it is a little bit of jealousy that comes, don't worry about it. It's because you've got a good thing going, right? This is a beautiful dynamic for Valentine's Day. I would not be surprised if somebody not only communicated with you, but gave you a gift, right? This, like the sun as the card of a celestial object that grows everything. It gives that understanding that somebody's going to be growing with you, right? Somebody's going to be winning with you. In fact, both of these cards are supreme cards of abundance and victory. Again, the Four of Wands is the card of celebrating. Those people had their arms in the air cheersing for a reason. And the Chariot card is the card of the princely king who becomes victorious in the material world. Both of these, by the way, have to do with the material world. So when I say material world, you may find that you and your partnership have whether it's a partner or a person that you're trying to get into a relationship with, the happiness that you go through is likely to impact the world that you have in your lifestyle, in your household, in your job, whatever area it is. Think three-dimensional world, right? The place that you can tangibly deal with. You can tangibly put your hand on the wall of a house. You can put your hand on the wall of your education center, your school, right? There's three-dimensional aspects to this. When things are going so good in the three-dimensional world because of your love life lighting up like this, then even if it's not like putting your hand on a building or a workplace, the skills that you can hold on to and the tools that show up for you that you can hold in the three-dimensional world tend to be really good at that time. Like I said, this is straight to the point. Victory abound, resources won, cooperation, unity, harvest, and people noticing. And if you've been wanting people to notice, if you've been frustrated by maybe family or in-laws or friends of your person who have been thinking negatively about you or this relationship, that's going to change. According to these cards, the pathway to specifically receiving recognition is here. I love it for you guys. I think that's all that I want to say. How can you get any better of a reading than that? Honestly, manifest the shit out of that, guys. Make this your story, incorporate this into your belief system, and watch it unfold. So if you do want any additional information, feel free to get a hold of me, and we can always do a private reading. I do have a Valentine's Day sale going on. It's any 3 questions for $20, but you don't have to just ask love questions. It's any 3 questions. like career or pregnancy or finances or travel, or of course, love for Valentine's Day. But I do already have the Taurus reading up on TikTok. So if you do want another free reading, full length reading, it's not a short reading, it's like this, right? If you want a full length reading as well, you can hit up my TikTok. It is already uploaded for the sign of Taurus for the month of February. So you can get the February weekly readings or the general energy random love readings too. That's everything, guys. Thank you very much for joining me here, and ciao for now.